Hi kindergarten students and learning coaches. This video is to guide you through Language Skills, Unit 14, Lesson 9. In this lesson, we will explore the poem Cat Kisses, focusing on the language and tone of the poem. We will also review vocabulary words for this unit. The materials you will need for this lesson include your Language Skills Lesson Guide, Book 2, pages 281 and 282. You will also need Tommy DePaola's Rhyme Time, and we will be looking at page 15. First, you will need to log into the OLS to Language Skills, Unit 14, Lesson 9. Please pause this video as you log into the OLS and gather your materials. All right, so learning coaches, please turn in your lesson guide to page 281. As you can see, this lesson begins with an offline activity, and we will be reading Cat Kisses. Now, in your Rhyme Time book, some of you may have received a book that has the pages numbered. And the page numbers would be down here. Your book may be like mine and the pages are not numbered. So if you open up the book, the very first page, this cover page is going to be page 1, and you can count all the way to page 15 to locate our Cat Kisses poem. So please do that now and turn to page 15 in your Rhyme Time book. All right, friends, so we are now looking at the poem Cat Kisses in our Rhyme Time book. And the first thing that I would like for us to do is just look at the picture. And I want us to talk about the picture and what you see and how this ties into the poem. We can make predictions on what we think the poem is going to be about. So if you look here, you will see there's a little boy and he's lying in his bed. And I see 1, 2 cats in this picture. And this cat catches my attention because this cat is wrapped around the little boy's head. And if you look very closely, you'll see the cat's tongue is sticking out. And that cat must be giving that little boy kisses. So I always like to look at the pictures first to see and make predictions about what the poem is going to be about. Now, there are words that are meant to capture certain sounds. So if I were to say, boom, that word boom captures the sound of a loud noise. There are many words that are meant to capture the sounds made by different animals. Think about this. What are some words that capture animal sounds? One that comes to mind is an example would be quack. Quack captures the sound that is made by a duck. Can you think of any other words that capture animal sounds? Please pause this recording and discuss this with your learning coach. Great job. I thought of 3 more examples. I thought of woof. Woof is a word that captures the sound that a dog makes. It captures a dog's bark. Also, I thought about oink, and that is the sound that a pig makes. And also, I was thinking about an owl and the word hoo, hoo. That captures the sound that an owl makes. So we are going to go ahead and read this poem, but I want you to listen because there is a word in this poem that captures an animal sound. So I want you to see if you can find that as I read this poem to you. The title of the poem is Cat Kisses. The author of the poem is Bobby Katz. Bobby Katz is the author. That means that Bobby Katz wrote this poem, wrote the words of the poem. And also, we have talked about this before, but poems are broken into sections called stanzas. So if you look here, there are 2 stanzas to this poem. 1, 2. So let's read the poem. Cat Kisses. Sandpaper kisses on a cheek or a chin. That is the way for a day to begin. Sandpaper kisses, a cuddle, a purr. I have an alarm clock that's covered with fur. I really like this poem, boys and girls, because the author uses very descriptive words in this poem. If you look here, sandpaper kisses. Now, if you have ever seen or touched a piece of sandpaper, you know that that is very rough to the touch. It's very gritty or grainy if you rub your hand across sandpaper. And just like sandpaper, a cat's tongue is very rough. So she is describing the kisses that the little boy is receiving from the cat as sandpaper kisses. So you can just imagine a cat's rough tongue kissing the little boy and licking that little boy. And if you have a cat at home, then you may know and you may have felt a cat's tongue before and know that that feels really rough like sandpaper. Another thing that the author said here that I like, and I want us to think about this, I have an alarm clock that's covered with fur. What kind of alarm clock would be covered in fur? What do you think the author is describing here? Another thing that I noticed is that word that captures the animal sound. Were you able to find that? I'm going to give you a moment to discuss these questions with your learning coach. Now, learning coaches, if you refer to the top of page 282 in your lesson guide, you will see these questions. This is meant to guide your discussions with your student about this poem. The questions you can ask are listed here in black, and the responses are listed in red print. So please pause this recording and discuss the poem Cat Kisses with your student. Great job. And if your student enjoyed this poem, you can extend this to include a journaling activity. Have you ever been awoken by an animal? If so, write about your experience. This is just an idea of how you can turn this poem into a journal topic. So the next thing that your student will need to do is complete the online review for the vocabulary in this unit. You click on the left to Lesson Navigator, and you will click on Unit Review, Manners, and Traffic Words. And your student can complete the vocabulary review in the OLS. Please pause this recording as your student completes the vocabulary review. You are now ready to mark the lesson complete. Again, you can click on Lesson Navigator, click on Lesson Completion, and you will mark the lesson complete and add the attendance for today. Please remember to fill out the attendance survey to let us know that you watched this instructional video. This survey is located at the top of the MIC. You click on the survey link. For the subject, you will enter language skills. For the lesson or the topic, you will enter Unit 14, Lesson 9. I hope that this video was helpful. Have a wonderful day.